Alright, so the context of today's video of how I'm feeling and why I look just kind of down and dampened is that my dad and I think we ate something yesterday that caused us to feel really sick today. So almost threw up and have just not been having a good day. Not feeling great, and it also happened to be on the day that I had to film. So just bear with me here as we go about our business. And I'm not in my regular filming location because baby has stolen my chair and I didn't want to wake her up because I'm trying to be a good parent, and the mom guilt is real when I feel like I need to move her. She looks so peaceful. So let's get into today's video topic. I want to do a little mini series, and it's based on a vision board that I created for this year. So it took me a while to find my theme for this year and my goals for this year, but I finally found it, and it was actually from a Good Trade article that I will link below about vision board making. And I've never really liked the idea of vision board making in the traditional sense of like, oh, let's collage and let's do cutouts from magazines. That just feels very like messy to me, and it's just not my style. But while I was reading this article, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I made a watercolor and made it my style? So if collaging is not my style, there's 1,000 ways to do a vision board. I don't need to make a collage. I can do it in my own way. And so I proceeded that night, instead of getting sleep, to take a little bit of time and make a watercolor, which I still have yet to print and fill in. And so that's what this mini series is going to be, is as I'm talking about the things on my vision board, this first video, I'm going to show you a screenshot here of what my digital vision board looks like, and then I'm going to go through the process of printing it and then filling it in with watercolors and putting it on my wall. And that will be the process of this as I talk about 3 so far distinct topics that are on the vision board. So let's dive into this mini series. So the first thing I want to talk about with this mini series, I have my phone here with all my notes, is going to be closing loops to decrease stress. So that is kind of my goal, my primary focus of this year, my mantra. You know, everybody's always encouraging me to pick like some words for the year or a short phrase for the year. Well, this is going to be my phrase, is closing loops. I feel like last year I really set myself up in a lot of ways with my health, with building better boundaries, with going to therapy all the time. And this year I want to close a bunch of the loops that I set myself up to be able to complete. So one of the ways that I want to close loops is to finish projects that have been on my to-do list for so long. And one of the ways that I already did this was, I guess it was last weekend, I had these pocket purses that I had knit at least 7 years ago, maybe even a decade ago, because I haven't been able to knit in a very, very long time because of my joint pain. And I knit these pocket purses, and then I never sewn them together to finish them. I'd made them for my nonprofit to sell. Never completed them. So I actually went through those this last weekend, and I'm able to sew, because it's a pretty short repetitive movement, and it's a little bit different each time because you have to sew the button on and then you have to sew the sides up, and it was okay for me. I think it irritated my hands a little bit, but not enough to really be in a lot of pain. It just took effort and energy to do. And so I set aside time to complete that creative project, because I think I found them maybe last summer or maybe even last spring. I was like, oh my gosh, I should finish these so that they're at least done. And I've had them in a really big bag in this closet since I found them. And I was like, this bag is taking up so much room. I want to get this creative project done. And so I sat down and took the time to finish that. So I closed that loop, and it feels so good because that has been on my to-do list for ages. And another thing that I wanted to talk about was I changed my to-do list to kind of reflect this. So in the past, I've had a to-do list on my phone in my notes app, which has had today's to-do list, tomorrow's to-do list, this week's to-do list, and then next week's to-do list. And I've had so many projects or things on those lists that I just move week to week. If I'm at my dad's house, there's different projects than if I'm at my mom's house, and I've just moved them around on my list. And I was looking at that list the other day, and I was like, why do I have these ongoing projects on a week to week list when they should be on their own ongoing project list? So I completely redid my to-do list And it got so much shorter when all of the ongoing projects were in their own tab, in their own section. And then under each project, I have little tabs where I can have all of the steps for each project. And it doesn't stress me out because I can just toggle it and it'll go away. And then it's just the name of that project. And it was like, oh my God, it was a game changer. I was like, why have I lived like this for so long? And so that has helped me to close a lot of loops as well, is like, okay, you know, is this a one and done project or is this an ongoing project? Let's put it in the ongoing project area. It takes the stress off of me. It's been so helpful. And then I also broke it down by projects that I would have to do with my dad or projects that are with my mom. And that really helped too, because if I'm at my dad's house, I can't work on projects with my mom. So that was like, game changer. And in one of the other videos, I'm going to talk about a to-do list, which I've added this year, which was another good trade article actually. But I added it because this year I'm working on things that I can add to my to-do list. So stay tuned for another video where I explain what that is, because that has been a game changer as well. And it helps me to close the loops on projects and then put those things on my to-do list. And I feel so productive when I do that. Another topic I'm going to talk about is my conscious consumption funnel. I'm really changing the way that I consume content, process that content, and then be creative on the other end of the funnel with it. So it's kind of a double-ended funnel. So I'm really excited to talk about that topic in another video as well. And then I've also added something to my to-do list that really helped me think about what I do in a day. So when I'm trying to close loops on things, I want to break things down by how they impact me. So I have emojis for different things. So sometimes I really want to work on a project. So for example, going through all the photos on my phone. I have like 60,000 photos. For a minimalist and a digital minimalist, this is very embarrassing. But it's been a very overwhelming project that I've not been able to get done, and I've not been able to close that loop because it feels so stressful. So two ways I'm kind of combating this. One is the way where I have a breakdown and I can toggle it up and down and be like, okay, for this project, today we're gonna do 100 photos or whatever. That helps me feel less overwhelmed, and it takes it step by step instead of just having on my to-do list go through photos. That's like, you want me to go through all 60,000 photos at once? I think it's also an autism thing where your brain gets overwhelmed. Instead of breaking it down by task, it just sees all the tasks at once and it just shuts it down. So that's one way I'm closing loops. The other one is on my to-do list, sectioning out tasks based on what they do. So if it's a task that takes brain power and might impact my brain fog, I put a little brain emoji. If it's a physical task that is going to tax my, fatigue and my energy, my physical energy, I'll put a little, that strong arm emoji. Then I also have a social one. So with my social battery with autism, it gets taxed very quickly. So if a task is social, so like today, I've been putting off calling my doctor's office for a long time. So on that list was the emoji where you're like talking. I put that emoji on any of the social tasks. Then I also have a creative emoji. So I have the little like paint creative emoji so that if I want to take a break and do a creative task, I can do that. And I also have a little bed emoji that reminds me to rest too. So sectioning out my tasks by those kind of areas really helps me, because then I don't do a bunch of physical tasks in a row, or I don't do a bunch of brain tasks in a row and then just completely burn out on those things. I'm trying to do like, okay, I've done a brain task, I'm gonna rest, then I'm gonna do a physical task, then I'm gonna rest for as long as I need, then I'm gonna do a creative task, or however the day kind of works out, with also keeping in mind the priority levels of things and the urgency of things. This like has changed my brain chemistry for how I look at my to-do list and the tasks that I need to get done, and sectioning them out in a day so I don't overwhelm myself. Like for example, I used to do a bunch of tasks that were all social tasks back to back in a row. And of course I get absolutely exhausted and burned out because I've done too much back to back that was a similar task. Even if I'm resting in between, that's still a lot of the same thing. And remember, there's 7 types of rest, right? So then I might need a social rest for a while. So going to a physical task helps me, my social battery, to rest and recharge while I'm working on a physical or a mental task. So I'm really just trying to optimize things as well. Closing the loop is really trying to optimize stuff and again, get these big projects off of my plate that have just been on my to-do list for a really long time. They're kind of like little needle list items. A needle list is something that just kind of needles your brain, and it might not even take that long to do. You're just pushing it off because you've either put it off for so long already that it feels overwhelming to begin, or it's something that's stressful, and even if it takes 5 minutes to do, you don't want to do it. And so this year is focusing on those things and really trying to close the loops and help me be less stressed, be more efficient, be more productive with the very limited energy I have. And obviously with my health, a lot of the next 6 months are going to be closing loops on my health. So I'm going to have to change insurance in 6 months. And so a lot of closing the loop with my health this year is focusing on seeing any doctors that I need to see now, or any specialists I need to see now that I won't be able to see when I change insurance. So a lot of stuff going on in that realm. I'm going back to PT. I'm starting occupational therapy as well. And when I say going back to PT, I've continued going to POTS PT, but this is just going back to like regular physical therapy. So there's a lot going on with my health, and so I'm really trying to like optimize so that I can pour really most of my energy into the health stuff, because I'm really going to need to for the next 6 months. So I will keep you all updated on the journey. But like I said, I am so freaking excited to talk about my conscious consumption funnel that has been like changing my brain chemistry with relation to how I consume stuff as a digital minimalist, and then also that to-do list. And we'll see if there's anything else on my vision board that I want to kind of do a video about and talk about more. But these were just topics that I was really inspired to talk about, and maybe they'll spark something in you of, oh, I want to think about how I look at my to-do list differently, or I want to close loops this year too, or you know, stuff like that. I don't know. I think that it just is interesting hearing how other people think about things, and obviously that's what sparked this in me. Like, I was reading an article on the Good Trade about a bunch of different topics, and it all came together into like one idea for me. So that's how I get inspired, and I'm hoping that this is interesting or inspiring for you as well. And I would love to hear, like, I love hearing how other people do their to-do list. Do you have digital to-do list? Do you have a physical to-do list? How do you deal with projects that are just kind of ongoing and it feels like they're open loops that are not closed? Are you excited to close any loops this year on any big projects or little projects? So yeah, comment below, let me know. I am really excited to be on this journey. But now, my friends, I'm gonna go rest and crash, and I still need to edit this vlog today, but most of the rest of the day is gonna be spent in bed because whatever we ate yesterday, my dad and I were not having a good morning. So I definitely need to rest because I'm also still recovering from shingles. Thankfully, the back pain is so much better. My daily migraines have gotten a lot better as well. So I think we're definitely heading in the direction of feeling a little bit better. I did finish the antivirals, so I think that really helped to speed up my healing progress. But it's been a journey so far this year, and so focusing on projects like this and my to-do list and efficiency, that makes me feel like I'm in control of something, and trying to make myself more productive or more efficient gives me that feeling of purpose. And that's really important for me when my health is so out of control, or out of my control at least, and really frustrating sometimes. So these are projects that really bring me excitement and passion and joy, and I'm excited to share them all with you. All right, I will talk to you all soon, my friend. Hopefully next video we'll be back in my chair and hopefully baby will go back to her window seat. She has not sat in the window for so long. I don't know why she's decided that this window seat is not for her anymore. We have a bed there that she loved for months, but she's decided she doesn't like it anymore. So now she steals mommy's chair every chance she gets. Whenever I leave for 2 seconds, she's in it. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon, my friends. Bye.